Hello, it's the Trappings and Trinkets Knitting Podcast, and I'm your host, Nicole. I can already see the camera bouncing around. I'm sitting here on my couch that has like a chaise lounge, and so we're going to be a little bit bouncy today, but that's all right. You can handle it. Just take your Dramamine, put your patch on. It'll be fine. So I haven't seen much of you for the past month. I don't know. I can't remember. I know that the last episode I put out was in August, but it was probably a month ago. So life. I've been living life. So some other things have been taking priority lately, but we'll talk about that. So I'm recording this on September 4th. It's Tuesday, the day after Labor Day. And it seems like there's a lot of schools that go back to session mid-August or so, like when my daughter's school went. And then there's another wave that goes after Labor Day. So maybe you are busy putting your kid on the bus for the first time this year today, or maybe they've gone back in recent days. So if that's you, I hope that that transition is smooth for you and for your kids. Back to school is always a happy time in this family. I don't know. I'm not sure my kids would tell you that. I mean, honestly, I think they like kind of getting back to their thing as much as I do. I think that they do enjoy being around kids their own age, more kids their own age, and, doing their activities and kind of getting back with the schedule and feeling like they're accomplishing things. So it is a good time of year for us, and I always like seeing them get back to their lives and not just sitting around the house, playing computer games and watching TV and doing that kind of stuff. So it also frees me up to be able to do more of what I want to do. So that's good. So this was a big year for us. My daughter's back to school with her sophomore year of high school. And she's got some challenging classes this year, but she seems to be handling them well so far. And she's on the volleyball team again. So fall is volleyball season for high school around here for high school girls. So we've been going to a lot of volleyball games. It is a little bit weird because this year we don't have any marching band kids. So my son was in marching band his whole, 4 years of high school, and my daughter was doing it last year. But it's just volleyball is one of the few sports that you just can't do if you can't do marching band if you want to do volleyball, because both of them have meets on Saturdays, so you can't be in two places at once. So she is actually still doing band, but just like an indoor band rather than marching band. So I'm glad that she made that choice. She still gets to, do the athletics, but also keep a foot in the fine arts, and I like that. But it's been strange to not have to go to football games and not have to go to the invitationals. So we'll certainly, we still enjoy watching the marching band. We used to go for years before our kids were even in it, because we would like to watch their show at halftime at the football games, or there is an invitational that our high school hosts. So for many years, I would bring my kids to that invitational so they could not only see our band, but also see other schools' shows. So we're actually scheduled to help out at the the invitational in our town, even though we don't have a kid in the marching band. They put out a call for help, and we still do have a kid in the band, but we don't mind helping. We're just going to be in the concession stand, but we'll also get to go and see some of the bands too, so that will be fun. So anyway, my daughter's doing well with her start to school, and the big deal was moving my son to college. So he's a freshman this year, and he moved in 2 weeks ago. The college that he goes to, they have the freshmen move in about a week before the upperclassmen show up, and they have a very scheduled out orientation week where they do lots of activities just with the freshmen. They have different groups they put them in to do discussions and do community service, and they eat with a certain group. So it's just a way of facilitating relationships between the freshmen, which I think is a great idea. So anyway, we moved him in, and that all went really well. He says he's getting along with his roommate. The roommate seemed like kind of a quiet kid. My son's a pretty quiet kid, so they'll just sit very quietly together in their room. I don't know. They're probably talking more than I think they are, but it kind of made me laugh to see that my son was paired with a pretty quiet kid. So he's there, and freshmen sign up for classes last. So he actually ended up with this schedule that was like one 9 o'clock class 3 days a week, and then all his other classes are in the afternoon. So it's like 1 to 3, I think, for the most part. So I asked him, "Did you do this?" Because he is someone that would rather stay up really late and sleep late. So I said, "Did you do that on purpose? Put all your classes in the afternoon?" And he said, "Well, no, actually, the freshmen signed up last, and because of the way, like, first you talk to your academic advisor and then you get to sign up." And he said that the times to talk to the advisors were just randomly assigned. So he was one of the very last kids to talk to his advisor. And so he actually had to sign up after almost all the freshmen too. So he said there wasn't that many classes that I was interested in that were left open. And in fact, one that he was really interested in was not available. So that was kind of a bummer, because I think it's a subject that he is considering maybe he would major in. So I wish that he would have gotten to take that class first semester, but whatever. It'll all work out. So anyway, he has this kind of crazy schedule, but he'll have lots of time in the morning open. So anyway, so far so good. Things are going all right for him, and everybody's kind of doing their thing, and that leaves me open to start doing my thing again. So hooray for that. So actually, lately my thing has been the pom pom factory. I have 2 new pom poms. Would you like to see them? So this is my storage, my pom pom storage, because I don't have a room in my house that's dedicated to business stuff. If you watched the last podcast, I told a story about how we almost bought a house this summer. And part of the impetus to buy a different place to live was that I would love to have a dedicated space to business / craft / being able to store all that stuff and make things ahead for my Etsy shop, rather than having to make them as they're ordered, because that can get a little bit stressful. But that house thing did not work out. So if you want to hear the full story on that, check out episode 38. But anyway, so this is my limited storage and I can hold quite a few pom-poms in here. But like if I got a big wholesale order from a yarn shop right now, it would probably take 3/4 of the pom-poms that are in this bucket or in this basket. So, it's not that much to store. But anyway, here's my 2 new ones. So I do have quite a few gray options. I've got the husky, I've got the short hair. This is the wolf pom-pom. And then if I can find it, there's also one called silver fox. So if you ever look on my Etsy store and you're like, oh, that husky and that silver fox kind of look the same, they kind of do, but they really don't. There's quite a bit of difference between the two. The silver fox really is more silver, and the husky is more of I don't know, I think of this more as a true gray. The silver fox is a silkier pom-pom, whereas this is a fluffier pom-pom, the husky is. They both do have hair that is relatively the same length, and they are about the same size, but I think the color and the texture on these are the most different. So anyway, I do have a few things in the gray family, and this one, like maybe from far away, it might appear a little bit gray, but actually it is black and white. There's a black shorter hair pom-pom here, and then it has these little tufts, and they are showing up a little bit gray on camera, but they really are like a white tuft coming out of the black pom-pom. So there's that one. This one's called Tuxedo in the shop. And then I got a new brown one. I've been looking for a while to replace my mink pom-pom, just because, I liked the color of it. It just wasn't the most, it wasn't the softest, silkiest texture. So I really wanted to find a pom-pom that felt as beautiful as it looked. And I hit the jackpot with this one. So this one's called Coffee, and it's just a kind of a medium golden brown, a real warm color brown pom-pom. The hair is very silky, very soft, and the tips of it, you can probably see a little bit, the tips are a little bit black, so it's medium golden brown with some black mixed in there. So those are my 2 new ones. And do you have Trappings and Trinkets pom-poms in your local yarn shop? Because if you don't, I do wholesale prices to yarn shops. So give them my contact information, send them to my Etsy shop, or have them find me Coley75 on Ravelry, because I would be thrilled to send them some information, send them the wholesale paper so that they can see what their options are and what the cost is. I think right now I'm in about 17 different shops, so that's thrilling, including one in Ireland. I just sent that order off, and actually it might not be there yet, so maybe in a week or two they'll be in a shop in Ireland. Over our summer here, I got a order from an Australian shop, so there is some Trappings and Trinkets pom-poms, or was. I'm not sure if they're sold out yet, but during their colder knitting season, they had some in a shop in, I want to say, Brisbane. And then a bunch of American shops too. So I am looking to expand that, and would be thrilled if you passed my information on to your local yarn shop owner, because then you have access to them all in person, and you can touch them and feel them and see their true colors in person before you buy them. And so that's good for you, and it's good for me. So anyway, there's pom-pom talk. Pom-pom talk. Speaking of pom-pom talk, let's do this now. So I got a Ravelry message. It was actually the day that we had moved my son into college. So this could not have come at a better time. I wasn't super sad, because I really did leave him at college feeling like he is exactly where he needs to be. He was happy. We were happy to see him taking that step. So I didn't come home sad. I came home feeling pretty good. But I got a message that evening that really lifted my spirits. And it was from a woman named Kay. And she is part of a podcast. She is part of a podcast called The Bead Sisters. So her name is Kay, and her Ravelry handle is Blueberry Chick. So she sent me a message saying that she had gotten a gift from someone with the Ravelry handle and then the letter M, Ruth Z. So this Ruth Z apparently started this thing called the Pay It Forward Project. And so Kay asked her podcast listeners to nominate a podcaster who had made a difference to them. So she didn't really define what that meant. Just if you thought that someone had made a difference to you, then she wanted to hear about it. And so she got a response from someone with the Ravelry name Whisk Knitter, and I hope that it's okay that I am telling this. So Whisk Knitter, I have not I have not sent you a Ravelry message, because I thought it would be fun to do this on the podcast instead. But I just want to say that it really made me feel very good to read this message, because she sent me what you wrote. So, and I assume that since you wrote this in a public forum, that it's okay that I'm saying this. So Whisk Knitter said that she nominates Nicole from the Trappings and Trinkets podcast. I just love listening to her. She has inspired me to start sewing again, though I haven't yet. I also like what she knits. I like that she's from the Midwest, just one state below me, and it's one of the only video podcasts that I watch. So that really felt good to get a message saying that, and it couldn't have come at a better time. And so somehow I got chosen from the other, I don't know how many people were nominated, but somehow I got chosen. So Kay sent me this bag, this project bag that I'm assuming that she made. So that was really nice. This will be a good, it'll hold a shawl or some socks. It's good size. So that was very sweet. So to Whisk Knitter, thank you very much for nominating me, and thank you even more for listening. I'm glad that you enjoy it. And I wouldn't take the time to record if I didn't hope, if I didn't think that probably somebody was enjoying it. So it's nice to actually hear that back from somebody. It's nice to know that, I know that there's 3 people in my life that listen to my podcast. So I kind of do it for them, but I also do it because I hope that there are people that actually care about the crafting part of it. So thank you very much for acknowledging me and saying that I had made a difference. And I asked Kay if it was okay if I continued this, because I thought I really liked the idea of it, and I like the idea of being able to tell somebody else that they've made a difference. So if you are a podcast listener and you want to nominate someone, I would say it could be a podcaster. It could also be anybody, like anybody in the crafting world, anybody that I can get to through a Ravelry message. So if there is someone, it could be a podcaster you like listening to. It could be like I have talked in the past about my knitting guru, the person that when I was learning how to knit, she was kind of the person that encouraged me and who I could go to and say, I don't know, I kind of want to try a baby booty pattern. Do you think I could do that? And she'd always be like, yeah, of course you can do it. Just knit the first row, and then when that's done, knit the second row. So maybe you have a knitting guru, or maybe you have a local yarn shop owner that is really helpful and always encourages you and helps you pick exactly what you want to make. Maybe you have a knitting buddy who you see at knit night and who, you know, has helped you somehow or who inspires you with their projects. So anyway, what I'm saying here is in any capacity, if you feel like, oh, there's my cat. If you feel like there's someone out there in the craft world that has inspired you and encouraged you, then I want you to nominate them. So I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to pick. It might be that a few people nominate the same person, and I see that this person has inspired a number of people. Or it could be that someone just writes something so beautiful about someone that I go, oh, that's so beautiful, I'm going to pick this person. If I have any question about who to pick, then I can always put it up as a poll. But for now, I'm just going to say nominate somebody, and somehow I'm going to pick one of those people to contact and to give them a prize. So I'm not going to say right away what the prize is going to be because I want to be able to kind of tailor the prize. That's why I'm hoping that this person has a presence on Ravelry, because then I can kind of look at their profile, look at their projects, look at, like, some people list things that they like in their profile. So I can look at all that stuff and I can pick a prize that I think will that they will enjoy. So I'm going to open a thread for that in my Ravelry group. It's the Trappings and Trinkets Knitting Podcast group, and there will be a thread there that says nominate someone who has inspired you. So go to over there and tell me who really has made a difference in your life. All right. So what else? My knitting lately has been very, I don't want to say brainless, because I'm not sure that there's any knitting that's completely brainless, but it's like, it's the most relaxing. Like, my knitting lately has just been like my comfort knitting, and I have hardly been knitting at all. It's like knit night, Thursday afternoon / evening. That is when I knit, and I've almost not been knitting at all at home, mostly because when I'm sitting at home, I'm making pom-poms. So it's the busy season for that, and that's totally fine. But it does mean I don't have a lot of exciting stuff to show you, but I do have a few kind of relaxing projects. So I don't know, maybe you're in the same spot as me. Maybe you're a little overwhelmed with life and you just need some therapy knitting rather than some exciting projects to start. So I will show you what I have been doing. I feel like I've kind of got like the possessed eyes going on today. I'm a little itchy because this is part of my overwhelm for this week. I'm supposed to go to a new allergist on Friday. I have a feeling that I'm allergic to mold. So, it's something that you can try to eliminate to some extent in your house, but like, I live in the Midwest, you can't eliminate it from outside. So I'm a person that loves to have the windows open in my house, and lately, like for the past 3 weeks or so, I've had them all closed up, and I've had an air purifier running in my house in an attempt to like get it as mold free in here as possible. I've been looking, like, you know how there's websites that will show you the allergy counts for like weeds and trees and pollen, like that, all that kind of stuff. They also do mold spores. So I can actually go online and look and see what the mold situation is for any given day. And August has been bad. August has been like a lot of moderately high, and then some days that are like really, really super high. So I'm checking right now to see what today is. So this site that I go to, so today it's high. See that? High concentration. That's not great. So this is, the website's called pollen.aaai.org. So they've got trees, weeds, grass, and mold are the 4 categories. So great. No wonder my eyes are Night of the Living Dead eyes today. So I'll show you. They also have this calendar. And so the days that are red, those are like the really bad days. Oh, by the way, they don't do weekends. So you only have the weekdays. So it looks like in the month of August, there was 3 days that were really bad. Orange is the second worst. So you can see most of August is orange. Yellow is like moderate. And there's only, oh, that's trees. So green is like low concentration. And when there's no color on the word, then that means that's the best. So as you can see, like grass, sorry, I'm using a different app today and I keep forgetting that everything's backwards. So you can see that grass is not bad for this month. Trees are not bad for this month, but mold is terrible. So I have been having really itchy, just like the kind of eyes that you just want to claw right out of your head all month. And I've been using this steroid drop that has been kind of helping, but not eliminating the problem. So anyway, long story short, going to a new allergist this Friday. And so I made the appointment last week and they said, well, you need to get off of your allergy medicine for a full week so that we can do a skin test. So, okay, fine. So I stopped taking my allergy medicine. I took one Friday morning and then I haven't had one since then. And then last night I woke up at like 1 in the morning and I was just on fire. Like my skin just felt like it there, and only in patches, like not my whole body, but just patches of my skin just felt like it was burning up, and also like so itchy. I just couldn't stand it. And also my eyes were crazy itchy. So I laid there for about an hour and a half trying to like zen myself out of the misery. And finally I was like, I can't do that. Because it wasn't like, this was Monday night / Tuesday morning, and I was supposed to wait until Friday and not take any medicine until Friday. So I was like, I can't do that. So I got up in the middle of the night, took another pill, and so hopefully, I think that it'll be worked out of my system by Friday, to be honest, because I can go like 2, maybe 3 days, and then it gets real, real miserable. So I took it in the wee hours of Tuesday morning, so my appointment is like 3 days after that, so I think my skin is still going to react to anything they inject in it that I'm allergic to. I don't think I actually need that whole 7 days, but I'm sure I'll get scolded by the doctor about it, so whatever. I'm not in the mood to turn into the Elephant Man just so that he can see me at my most miserable. So anyway, I'm not sure how I got on that tangent. Relaxation knitting. So this is why I do not have any brain power left for like complicated knitting, because it's taken everything I got just to deal with my skin and the moldy Midwest. So I don't want to move to Arizona. I'm sure there are people that like to live in the desert. I am a Midwest girl and I like grass and lakes and just, trees. I just don't want to live in the desert, but I tell you, if there's anything that could get me to move to the desert, it's the way my eyes and skin feel when the mold counts are high. So anyway, everybody cross your fingers for me that my suspicion is confirmed, and that, even more important, that there's something that we can do about it other than just continue to use the allergy medicine Band-Aid that I've been using for the past 10 years. So number 1 relaxation project. I'll go from most relaxing to slightly less relaxing, but still very relaxing. So the most relaxing thing I can think of to make is a stockinette hat. So you get yourself a fun skein of yarn. So I went with this rainbow business, and you just cast on, I don't remember how many, probably in the 90-ish stitch range for my 22.5-inch head. And this one is sock weight yarn, but it's a thicker sock weight. I just did a little 2x1 rib. So that means your number has to be divisible by 3. Little 2 knits to 1 purl. And then I did a big old brim. So I can wear this as a slouchy thing. Or if I wanted to, I could fold this over, do a little fitted hat like so. So after the wide brim, then I just do stockinette. So what is that brim? Like 4 inches or so tall. And then it's just stockinette. And then the top, the stripes get very thin because you're changing the number of stitches in each row. So this is super relaxing. So if I have absolutely no brain power, but I still want to knit, this is what I go for. Stockinette. If you need a pattern, there's a pattern called the sock head hat, and it basically just makes this hat. So there's that. Another very relaxing thing, and this is relaxing for me. It might not be relaxing for everyone, but if you're an experienced knitter that's made a lot of socks, you probably think that plain vanilla socks are pretty relaxing. So you've seen these in the past. This is Brew City Knits yarn, and I believe the colorway is called Spectacular. It has gold threads in it. Oh, there. Oh, there's some little flecks. You see, right there. There's a little fleck of gold. I tell you, I hate this. I hate seeing everything in reverse. It is so confusing. So plain vanilla, and to make it super relaxing, I go from the toe up. So that means casting on maybe 10, 12 stitches at the toe, working, doing increases every other row until I have enough to fit around my foot. And when you're doing toe up, you can actually try it on as you go. So you don't even have to stress about, oh, it's my gauge. Doesn't matter. Just, do some increases, put it on over your toes. Oh, too small? Well, do 2 more rows. Do 4 more increases, put it on over your toes. So once you get the right width, then you're just knitting a tube, and then you could either do a heel of your choice, or you could just continue as a tube and then come back and do an afterthought heel. So lots of choices there. And then I like to do a ribbed leg. Again, I like the 2x1 rib for some reason. I don't know why. Because it's my default, and I was being relaxing. So I'm just going to do my default. So got the vanilla socks. That's another relaxing project. I showed you this shawl last time or the time before that, but this is called the Groovy Shawl. And this is not the only relaxing shawl out there by any stretch of the imagination, but it is a really good example of a relaxing shawl. And what makes a relaxing shawl to me is that the repeat is very easy to remember, and it is obvious whenever you have to do something different. So this is a good candidate because the only thing you're doing is making these stripes of knit or purl. So it's very obvious when you have to change because you can see the stripe and you can see it getting bigger and bigger. And then once it gets to a certain size, then you go, oh, is that the right number of rows? And you count them. And then if it is, then you switch to the opposite sort of stripe. So if you've been knitting a stripe and it looks like it's the right, I think it's like 12 or 14 rows wide, and then you count and you see those 12 or 14 rows, then, oh, for my next stripe, I just have to do purls. So then you just reverse it. You're going to do purling on the right side and knitting on the wrong side. So it's a very simple shawl. There's a lot of them out there, though. And the other thing that's nice about simple shawls is that you can use a fairly crazy looking yarn like this one, and it looks nice because it's not competing with a lot of different textures. So that's a very good relaxing project. This was the one that I brought to the Mr. Rogers movie, and it fell on the floor. No, the project did not fall on the floor. The ball of yarn fell on the floor and rolled away, and that was not relaxing. So it was not completely relaxing, but it was mostly relaxing. Now, here's a relaxing project that I've actually been working on, and that is my hexapuffs. So I have disappointingly few hexapuffs here. I do have a bag that has more in there, but I mean, maybe only like 8 more. So it's not like I have a ton that I'm not showing you here. But I'm doing some that have like little stripes or some little variegated business. I have like this one I made so it looks like a mountain range with like blue skies and clouds. That's probably my fanciest one. Let's see, we got a little heart here. But for the most part, we're just doing like plain or some kind of striped hexapuff. So, I don't know. Honestly, I haven't even bothered to look to see how many you need to make a quilt. I kind of see this as my endless project that will never, I don't want to say never get made, but it's going to be a while. I don't expect this to be done in a year or even in 2 years. Like, this is a very long-term project. So, it's one that I can cast on for a little puff, and it takes me an hour or less to knit one, put a little stuffing in there, you use a crochet hook to close it up, and then it's done, and you have, oh, I've accomplished something. I've made this one tiny thing. And yes, I have to make like 7,999 other tiny things to actually make a quilt or something like that. It's probably, I mean, it's got to be in the thousands somewhere. I'm not exactly sure, but I want to make it. I mean, this is not a quilt that you can use every day, I feel like, because it's going to be kind of tricky to wash. You know, just imagine like a whole quilt made of these puffy little things. Like, that is going to be a nightmare to wash. So it's not going to be something that's going to be on somebody's bed that like uses it every night. I feel like this has to be like a guest room sort of thing. And I don't even have a guest room right now in my house. So this is something for way down the line when we live in a different house and we have a guest room, or once our kids move out of the house and we have a bedroom or two that we are using as a guest room. Maybe the quilt will end up on a bed then. So this is a very long-term project that you will not see finished anytime soon. Maybe someday in the next year I'll sew together 100 of the puffs and kind of see how big that is. But anyway, so that's that one pattern actually has a name. That's the Hexapuff blanket or quilt. No, it's called the Beekeeper's quilt. And yeah, so you can get the pattern for that if you're interested in using up. It is a really fun way to use up your leftovers. If you're someone that uses a lot of sock yarn, you could also fudge it and do it with sport weight yarn, but it's for thin yarn. So speaking of sewing, weren't we just talking about sewing? Whisk knitter, it's time for sewing. So, sewing time. You may notice that I am wearing a dress that last podcast it was merely a twinkle in my eye. I had not made it yet. I was showing you the fabric, and now it's made, and you can't see it very well here, but I'm going to put in a video of me showing it to you right now. So here we are with the rock and roll dress and my television. Sorry. The rest of my house is a mess over there, so we're just going to confine it to this corner where you can't see too much junk sitting around. So I like this metamorphic dress pattern. I've made it before, and so, I don't know, like episode 35 or 36 is probably where I talked about my first attempt at making this dress. I did make a couple modifications this time. All of the pattern, like all the skirt pieces are exactly the same. But I did change the pockets this time. Instead of just doing a plain patch pocket like I did on the first attempt at a dress, I changed it to this pocket that has a little bit of a pleat in the top. Whoop. I tell you, reverse thing. So I like that because it kind of brings in the pocket and makes it lay really nicely. It also, it's a nice big pocket, so this can very easily hold my phone and probably a few other things if I wanted to. This dress is a little bit longer in the back than it is in the front, which I think looks nice. I did modify the bodice quite a bit. I brought the armpit height up a lot. Like, this is probably 3 inches or so higher than what the pattern would have you cut. So I did have to redraw my bodice pieces so that I could get that armhole so that it would fit correctly and so that my bra would not hang out of the dress. So I'm really happy with the fit of this. And then I think the neckline stayed the same. This neckline hangs a little bit funky, and if I was really energetic about it, I would go back and open it up and because the problem is that I didn't clip the I think it's called the selvage. I didn't clip the selvage before I top stitched the neckline, so it hangs a little funky like this. It's fine. Like, it's a casual dress. It's not like I'm wearing it to meet the queen, but it looks slightly less professionally done because I messed that up. But whatever. So anyway, I'm really happy with the way this turned out. I've got on over my heart, I have Bono, and then here on my boob is Prince, because where else would he be, right? Well, I mean, maybe he'd be back here on my butt, but so I put my favorite rock and rollers right here, front and center. I ended up with Freddie Mercury like right in the middle, which he's probably, I mean, I like him, but he's probably not my favorite. I would say probably Bono is my favorite, and Prince. And let's see, Madonna's on here somewhere. I like her a lot. Oh, there she is. Here's Madonna in her Desperately Seeking Susan days. Yeah, da da da, right there. That's Boy George next to her. Tina Turner, Cher, Janis Joplin. There's Jimi Hendrix. All the rock and rollers are here. So this is Spoonflower fabric, and this one is the modern jersey fabric. So I have enough left over that I think I'm gonna see if I can cut a pair of leggings out of it too, because I ended up buying 3 yards to make the dress, but I only used about 2/3 or so of the fabric, and then like the far edge away from the fold was like I didn't use that. So I think I might be able to cut a pair of leggings out of what I have left. So we'll see. And then I just used, this is like black and white tie-dye from Joann Fabrics that I used for the underskirt. And I think it looks really nice together. So there we go. So I'm very excited that this dress is made, and I wear it all the time. I don't wear this one inside out. I tried it on, and the black tie-dye just isn't me. So I actually have there have been a couple mornings where I've turned it inside out and put it on as the black dress, and I look at it and I go, I want to wear my rock and roll people. Like, what do I care if I already wore it this week? So it is a dress that I'll wear a couple times before I have to throw it in the wash. But I don't care. Like, if somebody sees me wearing it on Tuesday and then I wear it again on Friday and I'm still wearing my rock and roll people, I don't care. I assume that those people don't even notice what I'm wearing. So I'm just going to wear it on the side that makes me happy. So this is a really fun dress. I used the metamorphic dress pattern again. And this time, well, I told you all the mods in the video. So anyway, let's move along. I do have 2 new sewing projects to show you, and it's baby time. So I bought this pattern with the intent of making this thing over here. Just a little onesie, long sleeve onesie with long pants. And this one, it's kind of you pull it over the baby's head, and then it snaps all around the crotch and the leg area. So that was always my favorite kind when my kids were little, because it was really easy to do diaper changes. You just open the snaps, change the diaper, close the snaps, and the baby doesn't really have to get undressed. You don't have to like open up the whole front and pull. Like the ones that have that like front snap thing, you have to like pull their legs out of the foot area and then like get the whole thing out of the way so that you don't get it dirty while you're doing the diaper changes. So that was not my favorite. I would much rather have one where the leg opening just releases and then it's kind of like a dress or like a nightgown. So that is what I'm making. So I am kind of, I'm 43 now. So I'm at the age where my close friends are not having babies. We are done with that stage of our life. I only have one sibling and I only have one sister-in-law, and both of them are also, they're pretty close in age to me. So everybody in my immediate circle is, our kids are starting to grow up. So recently I found out that a couple of other people that are not my close friends, but are still, part of people that I care about, One of them is a former student and someone who babysat my kids when they were young. So I just found out that she is due with a baby in January. And then another one is the sister of one of my close friends. So both of those people are in my circle of care. So I got some fun fabrics to make their babies some little onesies like that. So one of these people is kind of a described as maybe a an old school Nintendo nerd. This Zelda, this what's the name? Link is the character from The Legend of Zelda. So that seemed like a good choice. So we'll do a little baby onesie, and this is spoonflower fabric, and this I believe is the one that they call their no, it's their like organic knit cotton, I think is the name of this one. So it is soft. It's very stretchy. It would really make a nice baby something. So I got that fabric for one, and then the other one is going to get a onesie made out of this blue fabric that has little fox faces on it. Very cute. So I probably have enough to do a onesie and then maybe even like a little hat or something out of the same fabric, because these fabrics are very wide, and I think this pattern, I don't know, I can't imagine. The pattern only goes up to a size 3 months. So I can't imagine that that's going to take an entire yard of 60-inch width fabric. So I may be able to make more than one little thing out of it, but I'm looking forward to sewing those up because that'll be a fun project and they'll be so cute. So I'll get to sew, but I'll also get to use my little snap applicator, my little plastic snap setter, is that what it's called? To do the snaps all along the legs, and it should be a fun one. So that's my plans for the future, projects of the future. I also have a couple of sweaters on my knitting needles that I do want to get back to eventually. One of them, honestly, it's just waiting for me to establish the lace pattern. Like, I have the lace pattern. I know what it's going to look like. I've swatched it. I've done the comparison between the stockinette and the lace, so I know what the difference in gauge is. I'm just waiting for like a little corner of my brain to get cleared out so that I can have the capacity to work on that too. So got that, and I've got another sweater project that I want to get going on. So we do have some fun projects coming up, and I hope to get back to those in the next few weeks or so. So thank you very much for spending some time with me today, and I hope you have a wonderful couple weeks. I will try to live an interesting life so I have something to talk to you about before a month is up. Maybe I'll have a great appointment with my allergist on Friday, and I'll come back and very excitedly tell you that we know exactly what I'm allergic to and why I have Night of the Living Dead eyes, and that he came up with a brilliant plan to make it better. So fingers crossed. Have a wonderful couple weeks, and I'll see you later. Bye.